Steph, 10th shutout of the year. Another for you guys. What's working well right now defensively, especially at home where you have a whole bunch of them?
I think our defenders are doing a really good job of limiting chances. I think players are buying in on taking some pride in shutouts, and it's always a stat that gets thrown on a goalkeeper, but I always say there's no way I can have a shutout on my own, So it's a full team effort, and it's really nice when all players seem to be taking pride in that work, and obviously it gives us a chance to get points. I think 10 shutouts is what anywhere from 10 to 30 points on the table. Would be nice to maybe maximize our shutouts a little bit more, but it's a good basis. So if we can maintain that, then it's a good thing. But I'm happy that I see pride in our work, and we're reaping the rewards of that defensively.
You're talking about the quality of your defenders, specifically Cody Baker. 2 starts there at right back in these last 2. Specifically, what are you seeing from his game and how it's evolving?
Great work rate. Very responsive. Listens well. Doesn't get lost in the moment. Sometimes for young guys, when you're in a stadium of 30,000+ and veteran goalkeeper sparking at you, you kind of lose your bearings. But I think he keeps a very level head, which is really good. So I'm trying to keep my instructions as clear as possible. He responds really well, so it means he's not in over his head. It's a good sign. I think he's done really well. Had to play against Bawanga not too long ago. Probably arguably the best player in the league right now. So I think he did quite well there. And depth is always good, and we obviously have Alex, for example, is gone right now, and Cody is doing a really good job stepping in, and that's good for the team.
How does the offensive struggles either heighten the concentration that the defense sort of needs to have, and at the same time sort of like raising the pressure that if to get points you probably need to come close to pitching a shutout?
Yeah, I think it's. I think we're all focused on trying to get the shutout and give us the best chance. But if you know that you're struggling up top, it puts an enormous amount of pressure on the defense. I think Charlotte was a really good thing to see. For us to bag 3 goals, and then for us to turn around and give up 3, that was a bit shitty. But I think if that was the norm, I think we would feel good about it. When you see the guys clicking up top and being very dangerous and finding the back of the net, that's great. When that dries up, it puts an enormous amount of pressure of players to have to be perfect on the other side, right? And I've said it numerous times. Shutouts are fragile, very precious, and one mental error, one little ricochet ball or a deflection, and it's gone. And so, but we are where we are right now, and the fact that we have a decent amount of shutouts bodes well for us getting points when we do finally find the back of the net. So I want to maintain that and help our guys up top and instill as much confidence in them in practice as possible, so that we can take full advantage of that.
How does that dynamic sort of seep into training and the locker room and how the attitudes are, and I don't know how training is conducted?
In training, you try to look at the bigger picture, and although we may play small-sided games, if someone's playing against me, I always try to give them pointers. I think I've seen young guys look at me sometimes strangely when I tell them, when they're facing me and they don't pull the trigger, and then I yell at them and tell them to shoot. But I'm thinking of the bigger picture, that when we do find pockets, we work exceptionally hard for us to get into positions to try to pull the trigger. And so for us to maybe not have the confidence and then maybe pass it off to a more veteran guy. No, we do everything to try to get in those positions, and it doesn't matter who's in it. You pull the trigger, and the more we can pull the trigger, the more likely we're going to go score a goal, right? I mean, again, it sounds silly, but you shoot 9 times, maybe one of them goes in. You shoot 0 times, I guarantee you 0 will go in. So it's a matter of just maybe, we don't have to be perfect. A goal doesn't have to be perfect. A deflection, a known goal, a keeper mistake, they all count the same. So we have to try to be less perfect, I think.
Your back line back there, just Yamar's ability to anticipate the play and then cover for whoever it won, and then Nuhu's ability to shut down someone inside that third. Can you just talk about those two dynamics you have there, how special that is?
I think we have good dynamics in the back all the way through. You know, I think Cody and Jamar, you know, it's a solid guy behind someone who's quick and covers a lot of ground. And on the other side, it's the same thing with Jackson and Nuhu. You know, someone who covers a lot of ground, can close. The cross can also get up and help offensively. But for me, my extension is always the two center backs, and I like it when they play a bit more conservatively and feel the weight on their shoulders. That if they approach the game as in like they're the last line of defense, then I think that's a good way of looking at it, because if one ball slips through, then I am truly the last line of defense. But if they go about it with that demeanor, as do or die, and you see that I think they cleaned up so many balls in the last game. That's great. Like I said, I think most of our shutouts, they're not because of me. I think we've organized exceptionally well, but we've fought really hard to eliminate not just runs and shots from distance but passes and everything. So I'm very happy with that.
And how important is their positioning to give you sight line? So there's been a couple of deflected shots, but how important is their position to give you the sight line so you can watch that shot when it's coming in as much as possible?
I mean,
or is it?
I the last thing I'd want is for someone to take into consideration what am I seeing, and then adjust, right? I mean, if we can get close enough to the ball, great. Maybe don't, you know, it just sounds kind of a strange one, but make yourself big, but make yourself don't spread yourself either, you know, because if you start flailing, then you leave pockets open. It goes through the legs. Albert's really good with that little cut back when someone extends the leg and he brings it back to the near post. So be compact, but make yourself as big as possible. And most of the time, it's worked out really well for us. You know, I think Jackson actually does everything quite well there in LA. It just kind of nicks off his toe and goes around. Maybe that's more of a, you know, if we can give him the shout earlier to have him release, because I think he's worried about Vela on the right side. Yamar's covering him quite well. Once he's covered him, gives him the shout, he can step earlier, he can get closer, and then he probably blocks it, right? So, but they're super small, like 0.3, 0.2 second decision differences, right? So, but I think ultimately, so far as a collective, it's worked in our favor. We've done quite well with those things.
You've experienced the growing rivalry between MLS and Liga MX over the years, most recently having been on the winning end in the 2022 CONCACAF Champions League. How do you expect that intensity to translate into Leagues Cup?
I don't know. I hope it's there. I don't like playing meaningless games and games that players, where you get a sense of players are playing because they were told to play. It feels good when there's something at stake, when people feel like bragging rights or whatever it may be. So, but I don't know. This is a new format tournament. It's quite a few games for us. It's I think in the beginning of the season I would argue this is good because it allows you to utilize your depth and see where you're at. But we've already had to tap into our depth quite a lot, and now maybe that congests things more than helps us out. But I would like for us to treat it with respect, because it's in my experience playing against teams from Mexico, it's always been a dogfight. You know, it's always been a good battle, good soccer battle, football battle, and I hope that doesn't change.
In the past, we've talked about your ability to affect the tempo of the game in transition plays, being more direct. Against St. Louis, you guys did that very well at AFC. Does it feel like you guys have kind of gotten away from that and playing a little more direct and using you as a quick outlet midfield or something like that?
I think we've still done well with being positive when we do when the opponent turns over the ball, rather than going negative and trying to just secure the ball in a very negative way. We've been trying to penetrate lines, which is still good. In terms of going more direct, right now it's quite difficult. You know, I look up and I have Leo, Raul, and Nico. Last game, Heber, two guys right behind him, two tall guys. So it's difficult, right? I've always argued that long ball doesn't necessarily have to be a 50-50 ball, but when you're throwing one up against Nico, then you're not really doing any favors or putting him in a good position. So it's difficult. And then also you have to judge sometimes when teams, our outside backs kind of move forward quite a bit into that sort of position where we could potentially start an attack, but it can also go the other way quickly, right? That's I won't say a risky ball, but it can go either way. If their guy jumps and we get it over him, they're screwed. If he jumps and gets it, then it comes right back down our throat. So it's a little bit of cat and mouse, but for someone like Christian is huge, I mean, for me, it's, if I feel any kind of, we've been under pressure for too long, I know I can pump one up to him. It's never a 50-50. Doesn't matter who he goes up to against. He'll make it against the 6'5" guy. He'll make it hell for him. So, but we got to find other enemies. That's how it is.
Speaking on that, obviously, unfortunately, you don't get a call up for the All-Star game like we're hoping to. You were hoping to as well, but Tyler Miller does get a call up, someone that you know well. With DC, what are your thoughts on him getting that opportunity?
Happy for him. It's a great experience, and sometimes it depending on how you approach it, it can be really good for your confidence. This is, in my humble opinion, this is a huge honor. And it means you're a good goalkeeper. Players that are coaches and people that see good things in you, and so I think that should all lead to confidence, which is great for him. I'm happy for him. It's also a good bargaining chip, as I said before. So all power to you, bud.